You're listening to a Brawl Network production, and this is Meanie's Bird Recap.
Can you feel that thing that's oozing out your doggone hands? That thing that's beating your doggone chest right now. Can you feel it?
Win or lose, these guys will be here for you after every single game.
Do you think you're better than me?
Here are your hosts, Giovanni Hamilton, Conor Myles, and ECW original, the Blue Meanie.
That was freaking awesome. Welcome to Meanie's Birds Recap on Eagles Brawl of the Brawl Network. I'm flattered to be here. I'm co-host Conor Myles of Eagles Brawl. I'll let everybody else introduce themselves.
Oh, I'll let the star go first. Go ahead.
Star Giovanni.
And I am a former WWE superstar and ECW original, the Blue Meanie. Right here in the heart of South Philly, the home of hardcore.
I am so excited to get this game recap show. It's not maybe the game we really want to break down and talk about, but I am still super excited. I just want to start off with asking Giovanni, how was the game, dude? I think we're all wondering how the game was, man. Like, how was it?
Dude, it was so awesome. They had food there in the suite and everything. They had cheesesteaks. I had 2 cheesesteaks.
You had to get food, so...
Yeah, you had cheesesteaks.
Yeah, it was awesome. The suite actually can hold up to 40 people when it's not COVID, and we had it all to ourselves. And
that is awesome.
Yeah, I'm just so grateful. Thank you,
I'm
Eagles,
just so jealous.
and thanks to everyone who came up to me, because there were so many people who came up to me and said, hey, I listen to your podcast, and it's amazing. And I really appreciate that, because I didn't really think people would take me seriously as a kid.
Oh, I take you seriously. You're one of the best podcasters in the world. You're better than me, so I take you very seriously.
Yeah, you spit out the
Good.
numbers and the facts, and I'm just like, if he says it, it's true.
Yeah, he would know, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
He would definitely know. Giovanni.
I hear numbers and my ears start smoking, and it's an ugly scene. So, I mean, I'll leave all the numbers and facts to Gio and you guys, and I'll spit opinion.
We like the fan analysts. We want to bring that to the table. We want to hear what you have to say, Blue Meanie. You got some good takes. I've heard them before. I heard your episode with Philly Sports with Giovanni. And look, one of the first comments is, we take you very seriously, and I feel confident in building Sunday night. Oh, yes. That's what I like to hear. I felt confident, too. Not only that, man, that view you had was insane.
Oh, my God. It was such a good view. And we were right over the end zone.
You gotta love it. So
now you've been to games with full stadiums, and now with the reduced attendance. Was there still that energy in the stadium? I mean, with even with the smaller crowd?
Definitely in my section. There was a lot of rowdy fans just screaming. It was awesome.
Very cool.
oh, that's good.
It wasn't fully back to normal, but
Understandable.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it though, Giovanni, because it wasn't the most prettiest game. I hate to say
No, it
it.
wasn't.
My first thought in my head after the game ended was Doug Peterson and Carson Wentz need this bye week so badly. They need that bye week so badly. You picked in the pregame show Carson Wentz to be your Manscaped MVP. I know you struggled a little bit, but what were you thinking, Giovanni? I'm wondering what you were thinking when you saw Carson Wentz play, because I think as most of us all do, being Eagles fans, that's not the level of play we expect from Carson Wentz.
Yeah, it's definitely not acceptable from a quarterback like him. And he did not play up to the pro quarterback level that we expect him to. But honestly, I think there's two main reasons why he's not at his best this season. I think it's definitely coaching. I think Press Taylor needs to be on the hot seat. And I want to start a petition and bring back Coach Steph Lupo because we need him back in Philly. And I think that the next reason is just the change in the offensive line. Every week there's a different offensive line. It's always getting switched up.
I completely agree with you. I actually recorded earlier today on Eagles Brawl with Johnny Page, and I immediately said, and he agreed, and he brought it up too. There's too many cooks in that kitchen over there calling all these offensive plays. Look, the excuse that they didn't have a real offseason is tiring. No team did. It was the COVID impacted the NFL every single way it did the Eagles. I know the injuries are piling up. That is very valid. The offensive line's going in and out. Very valid. But I also don't think, when I look back on it, Rich Scangarello was a bad play caller when he was with the Denver Broncos. They fired him after one season as offensive coordinator, which is pretty telling to me. And then Marty Morningwig looks like the only influence he has on this team is the Jalen Hurts play designs. When you have Carson Wentz line up out wide, which I think is a dead giveaway, what you're going to do, you're either going to run it with Hurts or pass it, and likely you're going to be running with him. I don't think they have I think Doug Peterson is a leader of men. I think Doug Peterson is a good head coach. I don't think he's a creative play designer, and I don't think he can call a whole entire game. I think what you say is valid. John DeFilippo is missed on a Carson Wentz mechanic side because we have to blame Carson Wentz. He has to shoulder the blame for how he's been playing like one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, and that's just something that we are not accustomed to whatsoever. But we also got to look at it, and I don't believe that anybody on this coaching staff is really helping him out and pulling him out of his rut. That's worrisome to me. And I think at this point, you have to sit down and with Doug at the end of the season. Maybe you have to talk about the play calling, but you have to tell him, look, we need to bring you back your Frank Reich because you're not comfortable out there with him. And I think it's holding you back.
There's something I definitely want to add to this is, it's definitely the play calling because there's something about the Andy Reid coaching tree that's pass happy. And I don't know if it's because Doug's a former quarterback and he that's the cooler thing for the quarterback to want to do, have his quarterback always passing the ball. But that said, the Dallas Cowboys are the worst team against the run, and Boston Scott was gashing them, for big chunks of yards. And if you're not going to stick to the run, and they know you're just going to pass, then you're doing Carson Wentz no favors by just having him pass. Now, granted, some of those passes were, but I think that also comes down to a lot of instability that Carson Wentz has had around him from his rookie season. 17, he had Frank Reich, and then Frank Reich left. And then, we had the new coaching staff come in, and now it's just Doug calling the offense and stuff like that. I think they need somebody to get here. They need to bring somebody in here who's willing to be Carson Wentz's coach and not his buddy. Because, it's kind of like how a parent is more of a friend than a parent, and they're going to let their kid get away with a little bit more than they would if they were a stern parent. Carson Wentz needs a stern parent in that quarterback room with him.
I agree completely. I think the Philadelphia Eagles organization knows Carson Wentz is a very talented quarterback, trusts that Carson Wentz is a very talented quarterback, believes that he's a very talented quarterback. I think they think that he can get out of it, and I believe he can too, but to what extent? Because right now it's
he's got the mechanics. He's got the mechanics. You just need a good – or, I mean, like if Carson was a great car, the fancy car, you would want the best mechanic to work on your car and to keep that car running. And right now they just have some local guys down at the corner instead of going to the dealership the people who know that car. They need to get better coaching in there, in that quarterback room with them.
I don't know about you guys, but I just don't know what this offense is. That's the issue. It's never the same. It's always different. It looks weird. And I know that you have interchangeable guys, the offensive line and the wide receiver position still, but they don't have an identity on offense whatsoever. And I know they're missing Miles Sanders, no matter what anybody wants to say. I know there's been talk that he hasn't been playing that well this year, but no matter what, they are missing the play of Miles Sanders last year. They expected a huge contribution from him this year. And him not being out there is hindering what they can do as an offense. But then Meanie's right. I mean, Doug doesn't run it that much either. Boston Scott was looking great out there. I just don't know. This offense looks different every other week. I think Doug needs help with the play calling department, and that's where you have to start. I think you have to find an offense coordinator that can help Doug Peterson out of his rut.
Yeah. You need that. I'm sorry, Giovanni. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I don't think that he definitely thinks that he can do it all himself, but as Eagles fans, I don't think we do. And I just want to add a point on Carson Wentz. In moments in that game, he was playing just as bad as Ben DiNucci. Is that his name?
Yeah, that was actually probably the exact way how I would have pronounced it, to be honest with you.
Whatever you want to call him.
I think you did that right.
Yeah.
But
He was awful.
Man, whatchamacallit? This whole off season, I blame it on 2020. I mean, Carson got off to a slow start last year. He didn't play a single snap in the off season, or in the preseason, I should say. Now this season, nobody's had a preseason, and everybody's injured. And they got to do something about this Jason Peters situation, because you have Jordan Mailata, who's actually doing a pretty decent job, and I think earned a spot to keep that position. And then Jason Peters comes back and he gets injured again. It's like the movie Groundhog's Day, or it's like that saying that insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. If you're going to put Jason Peters on that sideline, A, he's going to jump off sides. B, he's going to gas out halfway through the game and be helped to the sideline. You have a great player there in Jordan Mailata. I think he's earned his spot. Keeping Jordan Mailata at that spot gives Carson a little bit of stability as well, because he knows, okay, Jordan's there. I could trust Jordan. Let me worry about what I got to do down the line. Whereas now there's a rotating offensive line. Okay, who's around me now? Who can I trust? That kind of thing. So it's been a lot of instability, a lot of injuries. Like you said, Myles, we're definitely missing Myles. But it's just I don't know what's going on down at that NovaCare Center with all these injuries. It's just
I don't know what's going on with them. Period. To be honest with you, it's insane.
What other team has this string of injuries? It's like, did somebody put a curse? It's like, do we need to put something Billy Penn back on top?
We sold our souls for Lombardi, man. We sold the souls. All our souls are gone. But to sit back and look at that team, like what it was when they won Super Bowl 52, and think the new norm, like, this is what we're going to be contenders. Carson Wentz coming back from injury. This team won a Super Bowl without him. They could do anything they possibly can want to do now. And now we're sitting here 3 years later saying, wow, like, this team is very underwhelming. And Carson Wentz has regressed a lot. Doug Peterson has regressed a lot. I tried to soak that in today. That was tough to soak in. Really?
Yeah. How about you, Jeff?
I mean,
what do you think about that?
Oh,
no, sorry, the mic cut out.
Yeah, I didn't hear you. What?
You didn't hear what I said?
No, it was a little scratchy on my end. I don't know if it's
cut out a little.
Sorry, I hope it doesn't do that again. But I was talking about, I can't believe like Doug Peterson goes from Woody to the Super Bowl, talking about the new norm, and then now we're at this point of saying like, wow, this guy really needs some help play calling. This is the guy that went toe-to-toe with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady with Nick Foles and outdueled him and won. And now we're talking about like, look, he needs help with the play calling department. It just goes to show you, like, we love Doug Peterson. He's a great head coach. I still believe in him as a head coach, but we kind of totally underrated the impact Frank Reich and John DeFilippo brought to this team, and it's showing. It's showed every single year. I think I was talking about it in the podcast earlier. I think it's Mike Rowe is probably looking at this team right now and saying, I was the scapegoat there. It doesn't really look like that offense really is that much productive without me, though. You're supposed to get better. They haven't done that. I think they hired the wrong guys, and that's a huge part of it.
Or at this point,
Crazy.
I think Doug needs to be the bigger man and give some of that duty off to like a Deuce Staley. Deuce has been there forever. Deuce has been there through every coaching.
We gotta try something.
Yeah,
love Deuce.
I love Deuce Staley.
I wonder, knowing the owner that Jeffrey Lurie is,
Mhm.
I agree with this comment too. That by Justin, to me, Press Taylor has done absolutely nothing to help Carson. I mean, where's the proof? You're right. There's
Yeah.
no proof of it. But I just want to see if Jeffrey Lurie, how he feels about that game, because we all know he's an aggressive owner and he's not afraid to step in when he needs to and make the decision. I mean, it was his decision that Mike Rowe was gone. It wasn't Doug's. And then we saw, because Doug, the press conference before they fired Mike Rowe, was like, no, he should be my offense coordinator. Next thing you know, things change. So we know what's Doug say here. It's not that hard. If Jeffrey Lurie wants to interfere and take away the play calling duties and give it to somebody else, he will. So I'm interested to see during this bye if the Eagles try to start changing things around, offensive wise, play calling wise, starter wise. Because I agree with you, Blue Meanie. I think there was 5 positives to the game yesterday. 1, they won. They won. 2, Jordan Mailata at right tackle, where I expected him to be bad against DeMarcus Lawrence. But after that first drive, wasn't that bad at all, actually. Didn't really expect him to play that good at right tackle. 3, Boston Scott's doing a little bit better now. Again, Dallas Cowboys, worst runs defense in the league, but Boston Scott's showing it a little bit more. Or Travis Fulgham is legit. Travis Fulgham is wide receiver 1. He is officially everything that the Eagles need at wide receiver. At this point, when Alshon Jeffrey does, I mean, they don't even care if he steps back on the field. Doug Peterson doesn't even know how he hurt himself. So clearly this team doesn't really cares if Alshon comes back. But when he does, he's Travis Fulgham's backup at the X receiver position. And then Jalen Reagor scored. Awesome. Jalen Reagor scored. And not only that, TJ Edwards, too. TJ Edwards probably had their best game as a linebacker.
Yeah, and was it Alice Singleton? He had a pretty good game, too, as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, the linebackers looked a little bit better when, Nate Gary, number 47, was off the field. But
I think when 2020 is over and we look back on the season, we're going to say, yeah, it was a rough season, but we found a couple diamonds in the rough with Fulgham, and all these other guys who are stepping up. Just like how we
young
found
guys.
We found Greg Ward last year. Going forward, Greg Ward and Fulgham need to be in the starting rotation from this point forward. They found a good young talent that they can extend and afford. What they're going to do with Alshon, coming up, who knows? There's been rumors that he might be traded by the deadline. We'll see what happens there. I mean, it would be a shame. I like Alshon, but we need guys who are going to be in there and stay healthy and be reliable. The best ability is availability, and Alshon hasn't been too available.
Well, I'm done with him now, to be honest with you.
Me too, and I love the guy.
Giovanni called him dead weight on the show the other day. I laughed. I laughed like crazy. But
yeah.
To answer this question from Justin, he says, "Are you curious? In your opinion, is Carson the worst starting quarterback right now?" No, not the worst. But he's treading waters right now. I think he would have to be better though.
He's the most mismanaged quarterback right now.
Yeah.
He's got the ability. He just needs somebody to be a coach and a stern coach and say, no, I'm the coach and this is how we're going to do things, and not let him dictate what they're going to do.
It's crazy though. Like, I never thought we would get to this point though, to be honest with you guys. Did not see it coming. Completely blindsided. Really thought Doug and Carson were like, they need help. They need that third voice, and they don't have a really good third voice right there. This is an awesome podcast. You are an awesome person.
Oh, thank you.
And you are. Yes, you are too.
I assume we all have the Super Bowl DVD, Blu-ray, and everything.
Absolutely.
And there's a great clip. You need to go out and get this sound clip where Doug Peters is on the sideline with can you hear me? Okay. So I saw you walk away. I didn't know if you're still in the headphones. There's a great clip. You need to get it for the podcast. Doug Peterson, I want to say it's before the San Francisco game. He's talking to the other head coach. He goes, Carson's a great quarterback. He's in early. He's there before everybody, last one to leave, all this stuff. And he's great. It's just, we're going to mess him up. He's great until we screw him up. And they've kind of screwed him up.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I do remember that clip was pretty well. He was talking to John Lynch when he did that. He was saying that he's a good quarterback till he messed him up. And
yeah, it's right on the Blu-ray. He's talking about he's praising Carson Wentz to the other guy, the other coach. The name escaped me, but he's like, and this is 2017. He's great until we screw him up.
So this question right here by Eagles Demon: do you trust Howie? Look. If you look at this cap situation next year, they can't get rid of Howie. You can't ask a new personnel man to come in and inherit this cap situation. Howie, they have to ride it out with Howie. But I will say,
Joe Douglas.
True. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I will say, as much as we kill the guy, and I will not get over this past draft. I'm sorry. The second or third round picks, this team was not in position to make either of those decisions for those picks. Right. But when something doesn't work out for him, when the corners stop working out, then he doesn't want to feel like drafting him anymore. He gets Darius Slay. When J.R. Sega-Whiteside shows he's definitely not the answer at all, they find Travis Fulgham to be the answer. When Andre Dillard goes down, they expected him to be the first round guy, to be this guy, left tackle, take over. He goes down, and Peters inevitably goes down. We all expected it as soon as they announced they re-signed him. Yeah. Jordan Mailata comes in and he steps in and he plays fairly well. So as much as I kill the guy, at least he finds guys that are serviceable replacements for when those guys don't work out. And that's the point. But I will say, does not make the team well enough, because when you have premium picks in the second round, third round, and you need to add youth to your team, immediate impacts from that youth, because let's face it, you've been one of the most injured teams over the last couple of years. I don't know if you take a backup quarterback to leave this town just debating if he should start over Carson Wentz for all eternity, and then a linebacker who barely played linebacker, and your team really can't even really develop linebacker. So questionable picks, but you know what? Travis Fulgham was a bright spot at least.
I guess the one thing that drives me nuts about them getting drafting Jalen Hurts is that our quarterback depth chart reads Wentz Hurts. So it's like, come on.
That doesn't really look really good, huh?
You have to do that to us. I mean, we already have to hear it from Dallas fans. Oh, your quarterback can't stay healthy. Now we got QB depth chart that says Wentz Hurts. So why'd you do that? But the Achilles heel for this team has definitely been linebacker. They need to do something.
They do. Every team comes in here and does like an end around and just destroys the Eagles, and it's because their linebackers are just not good. Like TJ Edwards is a bright spot for sure. That was the best game from an Eagles linebacker. Definitely all season, and probably maybe even last season too, to be honest with you. And that's not saying much. I'm sorry, it's just not. He's good, serviceable, but they just don't have the talent linebacker. It's just the truth. I like Alex Singleton a lot. I'm a big Alex Singleton fan.
Yeah.
They need a true number one linebacker, though. They just don't have it right now, and it's hurting them. They're getting exposed for it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think we need linebackers, but Nate Gary's out, and I am sad that he's hurt, just because I don't want to see anyone hurt. But we saw what would happen if we took Nate Gary out of the game plan yesterday. So we kind of know what we can do now.
I love it. I love it, man. I play bad with Giovanni sometimes. He benches Nate Gary right away. It's hilarious. I love it. I love it. But I don't know if Giovanni's gonna remember this story. I know Blue, you remember it, but Donovan McNabb gets benched in Baltimore after playing awful for Kevin Cobb, and then Kevin Cobb comes in and it's not any prettier. But the point was Donovan McNabb got benched.
Yeah. And
they did it as a message to his team. And I see this reference get brought up numerous times on Twitter now that they should have done that to Carson yesterday. Do you guys believe that would have worked?
You want to take that first, Gio, or?
No. You go ahead.
Well, I definitely think it would have worked somehow. I definitely think it would have sent a message. especially to let it would send a message to the team too that nobody's above, not being bad. If you perform bad, you should take a seat on the bench and just watch what it's like to see this team play without you. And with Jalen Hurts right there, who's a pretty good quarterback, to see how this offense could. I mean, they put him for that one play, and he threw a quick out route, and it seemed like flawless and perfect. Do that a couple more times to Carson. Let him. Hey, Carson, we appreciate you. Have a seat. Now let's see how this offense looks with Jalen, and then he'll be Carson. And if that was me in my mind, I'd be like, I don't want to be in that situation ever again. So
Right.
that would be a good kick in the tail for Carson.
It's an
Yeah,
interesting conversation.
I think that if Carson is playing bad, just bench him for a few plays and then let Hurts in. Let Hurts in and then show Carson what the team's like without him, and then he can be like, all right, now I need to step up and do better.
My thing is, Donovan did just that. That's exactly what Donovan McNabb did.
I believe the next game was against the Cardinals was it Thanksgiving, and then they they destroyed them. The next game, I believe that was the next game.
That was the next game, and then they go there. I mean, they went all the way to the NFC Championship game. They went all the way. They were looking good. They beat Dallas 44-6. They were feeling themselves. The thing is, Carson Wentz, I love him to death. Great quarterback. I think he's still good. I think there's mechanical issues there that need to be fixed. I think a lot of this, from what I've seen from the comments so far, a lot of people are blaming coaching. I think they're 100% correct. But my thing is, I don't know if he could take that. I don't know if he's as mentally, emotionally strong as Don McNabb was to take that benching. Now, I know Don McNabb complains and bashes Carson Wentz and because he doesn't feel like he gets the much respect as being the best Eagles franchise quarterback of all time, which I think he's definitely in the argument for. But I mean, if we're questioning, one thing that everybody's been questioning is if Carson Wentz has been playing bad because they picked Jalen Hurts. Can you imagine if they put Jalen Hurts in and he plays better than Carson, what that's going to do to Carson?
When it comes to Donovan McNabb, I love Donovan as a quarterback. I love what he did for this franchise. I love what he did for the city. But Donovan McNabb was the biggest sourpuss I have ever seen. Whether it's just not being able to accept it. I mean, after the NFC Championship game, and they're talking about the loss, he's like, well, I left the field with a lead, and he totally threw his defense under the bus. He was always quick to pass the buck, pass the blame.
You're not wrong.
And I think Carson's got a little bit more. I think Carson has a little bit more thicker skin than Donovan McNabb. Donovan McNabb was sour ever since they booed him on draft day and stuff like that. He holds that grudge, and he seemed to love being the Eagle, despite the fans and stuff like that. It seemed, he seemed a little bit soft. I mean, yeah, he took some rough shots, but mentally, emotionally, just.
So you think? I mean, you're not wrong here because again, Carson Wentz is backup quarterback, won the Super Bowl, won MVP, and they brought him back.
What was the joke? Donovan McNabb used to eat chunky out of a can because he choked anytime he got near a bowl. I mean, so.
Oh man. Oh man, this turned into the Donovan McNabb bashing podcast.
Look,
I love it, but you're right. I understand. You're right.
I respect Donovan, but he was such a crybaby, and the one thing I don't want to see out of a quarterback is if he throws a ball, it kills a bunch of worms, and he just smiles, and it's like, oh yeah, like nothing. He didn't seem hungry enough. When Carson gets sacked, when Carson gets hit, he comes on the field, he looks angry, like that something went wrong, or Carson would just go, stuff like that. So, I know I'm this is a long-winded rant here, but I think Carson Wentz would handle a benching better than Donovan McNabb ever could have done. You know.
No, you made a great point there, because that's really you alluded to why I was asking that, because I was wondering if that's what you guys would think, because it'd be interesting. It'd be, I mean, again, the guy sat on the sideline when his backup quarterback won the Super Bowl when he was having an MVP season. So I just, oh man, I don't think Jalen Hurts is ready though. I'll tell you right now. I personally don't believe Jalen Hurts is ready to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Look, at Alabama, he was basically a running back. I think he has the potential to be a good quarterback in this league, though. Don't get me wrong. He was one of my draft crushes. I just think I hate the situation that he came into here.
Yeah.
You're talking about a team that has to develop a quarterback that played really one season of natural throwing ability to showcase his natural throwing ability in a Lincoln Riley quarterback-friendly Oklahoma system. And you bring him to the Philadelphia Eagles, who are regressing with their year 5 top 10 caliber quarterback and his mechanics. I understand the reasoning. I understand it, because this is the reason I believe why they drafted Jalen Hurts, is because they want to get the most talented backup behind Carson Wentz at the most affordable rate, because he's on a huge contract. And how do you do that? You get a rookie quarterback. But I just don't think that I would be surprised. I think they can get something out of Jalen Hurts, because I think if he ever has to be quarterback for this team, they switch to strictly RPO offense. I think with Jalen Reagor healthy, with Travis Fulgham playing the way he is, and having those tight ends back, if Hurts was in there, maybe it would be successful. Well, with Miles Sanders as well, but I don't think Jalen Hurts could play as a rookie quarterback in the NFL yet. I think if you throw him in there, you're not going to be a much better team at all.
Yeah. Here's my point. I'm not saying bench Wentz for Hurts, like for a whole game or a whole season. I'm saying maybe if he's doing bad, put him on the bench for a few plays, 1 or 2 plays, and then let him look and see how Hurts is playing. And if Hurts is playing bad, then he's like, oh crap, I gotta take this, I gotta win. Or if he's playing good, maybe he's like, oh crap, I gotta step up my game, and I gotta start doing better to keep my spot as number 1 quarterback.
I agree with you completely. I mean, you were in person. You expected a huge game, and I'm surprised, because that defense is historically bad. It's not a bad defense; it's a historically bad defense. A lot of missed opportunities there against that team. That's an off. You would hope. I was hoping, and I said it all week going into that game. This is the game where you let your offense go off. It doesn't matter about the level of competition you're playing. You just let them go off, so you build some rhythm and momentum going into the bye. And then you face the Giants afterward, and you're feeling really good about yourselves against another bad football team. Now that the offense looks like that, I mean, that's this. I can only imagine Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson have such a sour taste in their mouth after that performance on them against that caliber of defense. Carson and Doug both have to take the blame. I don't like this Philadelphia thing where we got to only blame one person because the other person isn't that bad, or Doug won a Super Bowl without Carson, so maybe it's Carson, or Carson's a top 10 caliber quarterback, Doug's making bad play call. It's both. It can be both. If you're a 3-4-1 team, there's multiple facets to why you're that bad of a team, not just one thing. And a lot of it, I think, and I've said it earlier in the show, I just don't know what this offense is. I have no idea. I mean, I know Giovanni watches all 22 too. They don't do the same things every week. They don't. They change. This game plan against Dallas, I don't know what it was. You're facing a team where you're getting Jalen Reagor back. You could be extremely explosive with him. It's John Hightower. Look, the win was a huge factor, though. So I'm talking about before you go into this game, though. I don't think they factored in the win before they go into this game, because the way the play calling was, they clearly didn't. But I just don't know. I just don't get it. And it's strange. It's weird to be a guy who watches film and talks about the Philadelphia Eagles, talks about the game of football on a podcast platform, and to be dumbfounded by what I see every single week from this offense, because it's never the same.
Yes, it's I guess the identity of this offense is inconsistency, whether it's the lineup or the play calling. or it's a matter of who do you trust on this offensive line and stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff they could have done probably a lot better. Like I would bring back, for Boston Scott, I would have brought back some, plays, they used to use for Darren Sproles. Get a couple wheel routes.
Get those
there.
wheel routes, exactly. Get the wheel routes going. Get some
wheel route. Or have a couple screen passes. Don't get that batted down at the line of scrimmage. Yeah, man. I mean, they brought back that one pass to Fulgham that was his breakout catch against San Francisco. They brought that play back. A couple more of those plays like that, and you got to play to your players' strengths. And Fulgham can get out there. Travis Fulgham is deceptively quick. He looks like a big dude, but he can shake those defenders and get past them. All you got to do is throw one up and let him go get it, because he can jump up and get it. He's got great hands. He's got great jumping ability. He caught that pass in between two Baltimore Ravens. He's fearless. Just let him throw the ball, let him go up and get it. Or like with Boston Scott, throw a couple wheel routes, or let him run the ball. I mean, he disappears in between those huge tackles and stuff like that. He could let him pop off a couple 6-yard runs. I mean, the Cowboys are 32nd against the run. You got to work to the strengths and your opponent's weakness.
Yeah, I think that that game, if our defense too did not play to the level that they did, I don't think that we would have won that game. And yeah, I don't think that maybe Doug and Carson are just not clicking, or if it's the fact that whenever Carson and the offense gets into a rhythm, like 4 people get hurt.
Yeah. It just seems
like truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, in my opinion, this is Justin again commenting. He goes, in my opinion, Doug has become boring and predictable. There is no pre-snap motion, nothing creative about this offense. I said it myself too. I said Doug Pearson's play calling script has become so vanilla. You can see how bad his ice cream addiction is. I can't believe how vanilla his play calling is. It's
not
you
even
would think
vanilla. It's like Haagen-Dazs vanilla.
Yeah, it's not even. Yeah, it's the bad vanilla, the one that nobody likes. Like, look. The funny thing is, I can't believe
I'm catching heat from Mrs. Meanie for bashing that.
Ice cream is beautiful.
all ice cream matters. All ice cream matters. I love it. But I can't believe, like, I still am in shock that we're talking about this and Doug Peterson this tone, but it's
I really not.
It's
it's a matter of him. You need a yin yang in the quarterback and in the coaching room. You need a yin yang where he says this and somebody pushes, gives him a little friction. Why do you think that plays important? Why do you think that's good for Carson? Why do you think that plays good for whoever? And I think it's just everything's happy, everything's this and that. I'm just going to call the plays. No, you need a dissenting voice in there to help challenge him. He needs to be challenged as a coach within his own coaching staff.
So the comment here, why didn't we bring in Jim Caldwell for OC? I've asked this multiple times. I've tried to figure it out because I completely agree with it, and I'm going to explain why. I'm sorry that my dogs are barking. They wanted to get in on the show, but but look, when you look at Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz is not Russell Wilson, he's not Patrick Mahomes, but when you look at other tiers, Ben Roethlisberger is a very good quarterback. Matthew Stafford is a very good quarterback. I think Carson Wentz is along those lines. I think he's Ben Roethlisberger. Honestly, that's the quarterback I compare him to. Like, I think they're both the same. So they had these coaches where Ben Roethlisberger did not like Todd Haley at all. They were struggled as an offense under Todd Haley. It didn't work. Now they get rid of him. It was years ago they got rid of him, but now you look at Big Ben and the Steelers' offense has been good ever since. Well, I look at Jim Caldwell here. When he was in Detroit, and Jim Schwartz is the guy who had Matthew Stafford first. Matthew Stafford was struggling. They purposely added Jim Caldwell to help aid Matthew Stafford and make him a better quarterback, fix his mechanics. And he did just that. He did exactly just that. Yeah, Matthew Stafford playing his best football of his career. I think Carson Wentz needs that offensive coach. And I mean, when he had it with John DeFilippo, 2017, you saw what happened. I don't think he has it on the staff. So, yeah, and Frank Reich. Frank Reich had a huge impact, too.
Yeah.
I agree, though. I think Jim Caldwell for OC is the guy you bring in. I don't think he's, at this point in his career, is on head coach material anymore. I don't think he threatens Doug Peterson's job, but I think he can help fix it a lot. And I think Doug Peterson would really need this type of guy on his staff.
The sign of any great leader is somebody who's willing to listen to his staff. You know, there's nothing wrong with, guys, I need help. Guys, I'm running on fumes here. Give me some ideas. You know, I've seen it in my industry as well. You know, I come from the world of professional wrestling, and one of the greatest minds in professional wrestling was Paul Heyman, and he was willing to listen to a better idea. You know, if you thought something wasn't working and, you know, you brought it to him, if he thought it was good, he did it and he put his spin on it to make it look like he thought of it. But definitely, you know, there's, like you said, bring in a coach who's willing to, you know, challenge Carson, challenge Doug, and be willing to listen to outside ideas, think outside the box, because you can't, you know, you can't be the guy forever. You got to listen to other people, and that'll reignite your creative juices as well.
This guy's been commenting "Go Pats" on the stream the whole entire time, and I'm finally going to acknowledge him and tell him Super Bowl 52, bud. 41-33. Anyways,
Cam Fumble.
I saw Giovanni. I saw your mom comment earlier about Brandon Graham, best player on the team this year.
Yeah.
Best player on the team this year by far. Best to like. It goes on a list. Man, my dog is really talking a lot.
Brandon
It goes in a
Graham-
list.
Brandon Graham is the unsung hero of this team. Go ahead, Gio.
Actually, Brandon Graham is number 3 in sacks in the NFL right now.
Guy brought the heat to the show. He brought. I know you took notes. I know you took notes for tonight's episode. You told me you did.
Yeah.
Number 3 in sacks, but number 1 in trash talking.
Yep.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I love him.
And he's gonna stay there forever.
Where would the Eagles be without Brandon Graham, Jason Kelsey, and I would say Darius Slay this year? Where would they be without those guys?
That's where
I mean, 3-4-1 isn't good, but geez, if they didn't have those guys.
And think of Brandon Graham, who was labeled a bust early in this season. Now he's one of the all-time great Philadelphia Eagles. You know?
Yeah, I love it. Giovanni, my one question for you is because I'm extremely jealous. What was it like? What was it like witnessing Jalen Reagor's first touchdown in person?
It was probably like the best thing ever. It took me a minute to process it. I was like, oh, he got a touchdown. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, that's his first career touchdown.
And that was on your side of the stadium, right?
Yeah, he was running towards us.
That's awesome.
And that's awesome. So when he becomes a superstar someday, you can be like, you know, I saw his first career touchdown in person. You know,
I just saw his first career touchdown.
no big deal.
No big deal.
So, all in all,
yes.
How do we feel? How do we feel about that game? Do we feel like it was or where are we at going into this bye week, getting ready for?
I was like, yay! You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they won. I mean 3-4-1. Like
that's a mouthful.
I had less painful food poisoning. Just that whole game, I was just watching that game, just going, oh, you know, just my anxiety for that game. And I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan, so it's just secondary to have that level of anxiety during the game. Where you know, I sat in the same position, you know, while they're playing good, and something happened. I switched positions. I had Mrs. Meanie come and bring some good luck. She has crystals and rocks, and I had her bring her some good luck crystals. And it seemed that's when the team started to help. So I'm going to give Mrs. Meanie some credit. But yeah.
Thank you, Mrs. Meaning. Go Birds. But oh yeah, I know Giovanni was screaming his head off. I was surprised I didn't hear him. I turned up my TV as loud as I possibly could. I was like, I think I hear him.
Mrs. Meanie has
I think it's him.
real quick.
No. See, he didn't ask for the crystals. I was like, here, buddy, I think you could use these.
Yeah.
I don't want you to
I'll
not
send you-
take it over, but I was like, buddy, here's some rocks. Maybe they're magic.
I'll
They worked. So
all right, I'll send you my mailing address. I'm gonna need like a dozen of those.
we're gonna get his address and send him some.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. But guys, first recap show.
Pointed the whole team as it's even messed up our podcast.
I know, I gotta get off now.
No. But no,
But-
seriously, yeah, it's been great, man. Thanks guys for having me. Thanks for everybody for watching at home in your leisure. Thank you, Gio. Thank you, Connor. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to keep on rolling with this. It was fun. We got some great comments, great interaction from everybody on here. Love
I
it.
think it's my first shows on the bye week.
I know. We'll come back. We'll have to do a bye-week special. We'll have to do how are we feeling? You know, we got to digest a little bit of that ugly Dallas loss. I mean, a Dallas win. I mean, it feels like a life. Sorry.
I was bowling too ugly, but yeah.
I'm proud of you too, Giovanni.
I love you, Mom.
Me three.
Yeah, you gotta give the shot to your mom. You gotta give the shot to your mom. I love my mom too. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in.